Alright, Revolution, we're going to be looking at your Darius gameplay here. I chose this game because we got ahead pretty decently. I think we were like 8-3 and 6, but the game was about 36 minutes long. And so when we have a lead, closing out the game as fast as possible is really good. Now, of course, Darius scales fairly well until late game, especially when he's able to get all his 5 stacks. But we want to still look to close out our games if we're that ahead, because sometimes you'll just get outscaled and you're going to be the one losing the game when you already had a lead. So I want to see why this game took so long, and I want to go over how we can make it so that it doesn't take this long in your future games, so we can just get those wins, stomp, get the win, stomp, and rinse repeat. So first things first, it's just pretty much understanding Darius in general. We want to look at our matchups here. It's Darius and the Wukong. Darius is just a hyper-aggressive champion. He's really good at zoning. He's really good at denying the farm, and of course, he's extremely good at bullying you. You know, giving you the back, making you come back to lane with like a gold deficit. The fact that, oh well, he's blocking my wave. I can't really CS. Now I'm forced to back, and comes back lower level, less gold, and rinse and repeat. That's what Darius is good at. So we want to try to incorporate that into every single lane we can, if possible, because that's his strengths. So let's go to, first thing here is 156. So 156. All right, there we go. So at 156, I noticed that we weren't really standing aggressively. Standing aggressive? Really? Standing aggressively. We're not really showing that aggression. You're just kind of allowing him to really just kind of walk up if he wants to. You can walk up and hit that. You want to put your body somewhere between you and him, or the wave and him. So that way, if he wants to go for a CS and he walks this way, you walk that way. He walks back, you walk back. That way you're always between them. You don't have to be way back here like he is. More or less, you want to make sure that you are just between him and the minions. When you get really good at it though, once the waves collapse, once they collide with each other, for an example, like this, and you know that there's not going to be another wave for a while, what you can do is you can then stand a little bit further out, causing him to go a little bit further back, allowing yourself to get the experience and the gold while he's not getting gold or experience because you zoned him out so far. And that's what we call zoning. So he's allowed to just sit in the wave and do his thing without really much threat. He's super close, even though he's not CSing, he's super close. He doesn't really seem scared of you. And when we're playing Darius, that's not what we want. We want them terrified. So we got to make sure that we try to take that and adopt that offensive stance. A really good way to kind of figure that out is to just watch high elo Darius players, and you'll understand what the stances look like, and then you can just incorporate them in your own play. Next one is 210. So it actually passed just now. So right here, we realize that we're shoving the lane. We don't really have to. We don't want to shove the lane unless we want to, unless we have a specific reason to do so. Right here, we're just autoing, and it's pushing the wave. Now we're forced to shove the wave, and then what happens is we get in a really, really bad spot. Now Wukong can decide to just leave the wave here and freeze it on you. But he doesn't do it right. And it's crazy. You kind of do it an aggressive stance right there, but since it's so close to the tower, you can't really take advantage of it. Once again, as I said, he can freeze it. He just didn't do that. Now you're forced to shove in. No wards, of course. You can easily be ganked. And now we're forced to recall because, well, what am I going to do? Now, if you had a specific thing in mind, well, I want to go back and I want to buy this, it's fine. But as you see, we don't actually recall, right? And then we sit here. So this goes to show we definitely didn't really have anything in mind. We just started to push on accident. We just started to have that push go because we ruined our lane. And you don't want that. You don't want that. You want to make sure if we are pushing, there is a specific reason to do so. Because if we don't, and that person freezes, and we start pushing, and we didn't have a reason, we're going to be in some hot water, man. So make sure that when you're pushing, make sure that when you do pretty much anything in this game, you're thinking about it. Because the last thing you want to do is go on autopilot. So make sure that when we're doing something, we actually have a specific reason to do so. And that way it can better help you understand what you should and what you shouldn't be doing. So in that instance, yeah, we don't want to look to push because we can't zone. We can't do what we want to do as Darius. And also they can just freeze it. What we want to try to do is freeze it near our tower, somewhere around here, if you can manage to do so. The closer the better, of course, but somewhere in this area that you already have it in, so that when you choose to go on this guy, you can, and he's gonna have to run all the way back to his tower, and you can get your free kills that way. All right, 545. Okay. So right here, just a little small thing, but very, very important. We see Shyvana. We also see an Ahri that was right here, and she rotated downwards. We're going to place a ward that isn't going to help us, right? So she's right here, and then she starts rotating downwards. See? So this ward right here, A, doesn't really help you out because we knew where the jungler was, and then B, if we were warding for Ahri, we would have seen that she was going down. So this is just kind of a waste of a ward. You want to get the most out of your wards. You don't really want to put a ward down just because, you know, it looks nice or just because you feel safer. You want to put a ward down so that we can get vision, so that we can see where everybody is. We already know where everybody is. What's the point of using a ward? That way, when we are unsure, we can go ahead and ward, and we know that we expect them to be walking on that ward. So like I said, just a really small little note there, but very, very crucial. Having wards and getting the most benefit out of the wards is what we want to look to do. It's very important because you're able to prevent a lot of things when you have the ward, but you can't prevent anything if you don't have the ward. All right, 1335. So right here, I noticed that we gravitate towards top a lot actually this game. And I'm going to assume that you do that pretty much every game. It's just a habit that players tend to have sometimes. When they win their lane, they usually just go back to that lane because they want to keep beating that person that they're winning in lane from. Instead, what we want to do is we want to learn to transition our lead across the entire map. So as you see, we have Senna here and Ezreal's dead. You can go down here and you can handle the 2v1. If they keep pushing, handle the 2v1. If they don't keep pushing, you can get the wave, get the next wave, and force them to come down. Right? That way we're getting this, and then with the next wave we're getting, and then we can back, and then we can go ahead and go towards the top tower again, and then we're able to catch this wave once we recall. Do they push up though? Yes, they do. And then he leaves. So a whole wave right there you could have gotten because they were going to leave anyway, and then you could have gotten the next wave, and then you could have backed and gotten the top wave. Why is that important, you might ask? Because you don't want to keep hammering down on the same guy. Wukong's behind. He's 0-5. You can't get any more ahead than ahead. You're already ahead. There's no way you get more ahead than ahead. But look at these other players, right? 6-2-2. You could probably stop that. You're a higher level than she is. You do more damage than she does. You're extremely tanky compared to her. You can go stop that. And you can prevent that from happening. So luckily this game, you know, your team understood pretty much what to do, and they were pretty helpful. But in a game where the 4 teammates are really, really bad, you don't want to have the way you impact the game just only be through top. Once you're done with your tower, once you have your lead, rotate and try to get the lead elsewhere. Try to make some fights happen elsewhere, because what happens when that top laner's behind? He's going to sit here and he's going to try to farm back into the game, which means that's a 5v4. And even if your team is behind, you're ahead and it's a 5v4. Not many teams lose a fight like that when the top laner's ahead and it's a 5v4. So you need to look to do that so that you can be a part of it. You do eventually do it, but as I said before, we want to look to close out our games fast as possible, and so we can move on to the next game. And we can not have ourselves get outscaled by other champions. So as we see, we're back up top, right? Not really accomplishing much. Or we could be going down bottom. So look to spread your lead. Look to get other towers elsewhere. Just going back to top over and over and over. Just going to make your game a living nightmare. Because what's going to happen later? well, they're going to be really, really fed, and you're going to have to deal with that. And because you get less gold for killing Wukong and less experience, because he keeps dying over and over, you're not going to be as ahead as if the Ari or the Shyvana or Misfortune just happen to kill all 4 of your teammates over and over and over. You see what I mean? So very important that when we take our stuff, when we get our lead, we start rotating and we start trying to do something across the map. All right. The next one that I wrote down here for you is 21 minutes. So it's about to happen right now. So what we want to do is we want to learn when the fight is over. This fight goes pretty well. We kill this guy. He's dead. Right here, you decide to chase. Granted, the fight's pretty much over. Right now, we would look to go down here so that once we notice the fight is over, we look to rotate and grab something. You can either come down here and get this wave and then get the next wave. Or we can go up here and look to get tower. Or we can ping our team to pull a Baron and pretty much get a 5v4, forcing them to fight us. Because once again, we have numbers advantage and you're ahead. They shouldn't be able to beat you guys. So with that in mind, we need to start forcing the fights around the objectives, especially when we know we are in a winning position to do so. So maybe you're like, well, the fight's not over yet. All right, I get stunned. At this point, the fight is over. At this point, there's nobody to get. And we keep going. And generally, that's what happens when players join a fight that they don't really have a game plan for. It's just like, oh, I guess I'll help my team. It gets to the point where you don't really know what to do next because you didn't really plan to do anything next. It's just, I was just helping my team. And so, luckily, like I said, our teammates are doing pretty well. They're pretty on point. But imagine if these guys didn't know what to do and all they did was go back and farm. That's a free Baron gone that we could have called for our team. You can replicate this. You can get yourself a lead. Go get other towers around the map. Look to force a fight around objectives because they're going to either give you a Baron or Dragon or they're going to try to take it from you, in which case you win the 5v5 and you take it anyway. It's a win-win situation. Or we can keep going top and just choose to help our team whenever we feel like they need me. Which one seems a little bit more consistent? Which one seems a little bit more easy to pull off? So really get in the habit of that. Really get in the habit of, I need to spread my lead. I need to make sure that if there's nothing really positive going on, I'm looking to go get levels and gold. The next one is 24. All right, so this point was pretty good. We're fighting for the objective, exactly what you want to do. We go for this fight. We kill him. Kill that guy. Instantly, we should be looking to go down here and start pushing towers. The wave is already here. This is what we should be thinking. Towers, right? We got Baron, towers. What towers are up? Well, we can go here. We're going to take time to walk and then shove, right? Or we can go here and we could just, we're already here. And then just start pushing it. Get a tower here. And we could possibly get into the tower if we ping our team to do it. You have to be kind of the leader of the situation. You got to make sure that you're not just defaulting to, okay, let's go mid, guys, because we killed everybody. We can do it. As you see, you're not even planning to really go mid. You're planning to get the kill. Whereas Azir did what you should have done, which was, okay, this fight's over. We already got the W. My team can handle the rest. Let's go and just get some towers. This has got to be you. You got to be the one making these type of decisions. You have to be the one making the Baron calls when you know that you're in the winning position. You got to be the one to rotate and get towers while your team is doing some random stuff sometimes, because teammates do random stuff sometimes, right? That's got to be you. So I think the main thing that will help you close out your games a lot more is, first of all, being in an offensive stance a little bit more in your lanes. That's crucial. You can propel yourself to a really high level if you just learn how to abuse the fact that what you're good at, which is zoning, bullying, getting them out of lane. You don't want them to have breathing room. You want to make sure that they are backed. You want to make sure that you're getting levels and gold above them so that when it is time to rotate, you're good to go. Also, once you get a lead, we got to look to go get towers elsewhere. we have to look to go rotate. We have to look to go use our lead on the other side of the map. Whether it be through just going to dragons, whether it be through just shoving the bot lane because your bot lane is rotated. Whatever it is, you have to make sure that you're impacting the rest of the map. Because if your teammates aren't that good and you're just impacting your lane, well, it's going to get to the point where you can't impact the rest of the map because you took too long to do it and now you're outscaled. Very crucial. I win my lane, I rotate and try to get dragons, I rotate and try to get other towers. Because that laner that I beat in lane will be forced to sit in lane because he has to farm and catch back up. And if he chooses to fight the 5v5, easily will win because he's behind. Also understanding when the fight is over is very important. We need to make sure that we're not chasing down kills. We need to make sure that, okay, we're done. What can I get right now because we have the numbers advantage? Oh, like we can get a Baron. It's free. Okay, I can go bot and push while you guys do some buffoonery elsewhere. You have to be always ready to go to the next step. A, B, C, D. Like next step over and over and over. There should never really be a time where there's just a resting period within your games. If there is, that's time wasting that you could be using to close the game out. Instead, that's time you're giving them to scale back in. And of course, as I said before, when your fights are done and you know that we want to get a tower after that, we should just commit to getting a tower and not try to look to kill everybody. Because what's going to happen is just, you're going to be able to stagger death timers. If you start pushing and then someone tries to defend and you're with him, you could kill him and you're going to stagger the death timer. What staggering the death timer does means, you know, if let's say Shyvana did defend this, she'd be dead right now, which is exactly what's happening. And then let's say Arya comes to defend and then you kill her. Then you got 2 people dead when these 3 spawn, which means your team still can push because they're going to have to send 2 to stop these guys, or they're going to have to send 3 to stop you guys because you're so ahead right now. We'll just keep pushing. And that's the moral of the story here, okay? So I hope this helped you out. If you have any questions, let me know, of course. Otherwise, this is Coach Blaker signing off.